Hey, I'm Jay.
And I'm Jaimie.
And today we're going to make a puzzle box for our dice. A puzzle box is a box that can only be opened by solving a puzzle.
And a dice box is a box that holds all of your precious dice.
We're big fans of both of those things, so we thought it would be an awesome project to combine the two into the ultimate Dice Vault puzzle box.
Now, normally when we start a project, we have a pretty good idea of how we're going to build a thing. This was not one of those times.
We ended up building a bunch of prototypes because we were trying to figure out the best way to make it really, really small. It had to fit in this tiny box, but also be simple enough to open in just 1 or 2 moves.
After a lot of trial and error, mostly error, we finally landed on a design that worked consistently, was easy enough to open, and looked awesome.
First up was to get our wood milled up and ready to use. For this we're using bocote, which is an insanely awesome looking hardwood that's native to Central America. It's known for having this really cool grain with these little eyes all over it. It's awesome.
For the puzzle mechanism to work, the top and bottom of our box needed to fit together really precisely, and we engineered it with all these grooves and miters and things so that the box would only open in one direction.
This meant everything needed to fit together perfectly, or basically nothing was going to work. So we decided the best way to get that precision was to use our X-carve. This took a ton of setup and trial and error, like we mentioned. We had to try all these different things to get stuff working, but I think what we came up with worked really well.
We secured the workpiece down to the CNC and let the X-carve go to work. It was pretty nerve-wracking watching this, but after so many test cuts, we were about as confident as we were going to get. We had to just let it do its thing and see what happens when the 2 pieces are done. It was really, really close. We used the shoulder plane to take a couple shavings from each side of the groove so that the top fit on perfectly. To hold the box together when it's closed, we're going to use some magnets on the top and the bottom. The ones on the bottom are countersunk and get screwed in, and we found a really clever way to use those screws, which we'll see in a bit.
We recently child-proofed all of our cabinets with these really cool little magnetic locks, and that's what gave us the inspiration to use magnets for our puzzle lock.
So we did a ton of research online to figure out what type of magnet puzzles were out there, and we found some really cool stuff. We are going to link all those videos that inspired us in the description below so that you can check them out.
By far the biggest challenge was the puzzle mechanism needed to be super tiny so that it still looked like a normal dice box from the outside.
We needed some springs, and an easy place to find those was from some retractable pens. The magnet lock is hidden in the end grain of the wood, so we drilled a hole for the magnets as well as a smaller one for the springs. It needed to stick out just a tiny bit from the end. So far, so good.
To make it lock when it's closed, the magnets are going to slip into these little mortises on the ends of the box. So we made these by hand because we weren't sure exactly how they were going to fit.
We're using that strip that we cut off earlier so that the grain of the wood matches the rest of the box. At the shooting board, we use a hand plane to make the tiny little 45-degree miters so it fits into the end. Perfect fit. Initially, we drilled a hole at the same size as the magnet, thinking it would fit right in, but it didn't quite work well enough, so we ended up using a chisel to expand the mortises, make them a little bit bigger, and make sure that the magnets were going to lock properly. Once we were confident that everything was going to work, we glued the end pieces on.
Considering how precise and perfect this all needed to be for it to function as a puzzle box, I was amazed at how well things were going. We only have the 1 piece of bocote, so if that doesn't work, then, well, we're done.
Next up was to sand and finish the box, and we'll see what this little hole is for in a minute. We sanded it to 320 grit and then finished it with shellac, which looked really good. When it's dry, we use some fine steel wool to take that high gloss down to a really nice sheen.
We wanted the inside of the box to have some padding, so leather seemed like a good, sophisticated choice. Now, since we'd used the X-Carve to cut out the inside of the box, we decided to see if we could use the X-Carve to now cut out the leather, which we'd never really seen anyone done and weren't sure exactly how well it was going to work.
Spoiler alert, it did work.
To CNC the leather, we used the finest tip bit we had, which was this engraving bit. Our goal was to use the same file from before to finally outline the exact shape we needed. We were pleasantly surprised. It worked perfectly. We cut it out and then put them in. Remember those magnets from earlier? We put the tiny screws in about halfway, and then we take our spring magnet thingy, put that in, and then the screws get tightened down and they hold the magnet in place. We can then twist it around the screw, which dials in how far the magnet sticks out and gives us total control for how tight the lock is.
So far, we've shown you how to take a cool little dice box and make it lock with a magnet and a spring. But what we haven't shown you is how to solve the puzzle.
Like any good story, secret lies with the dragon.
This is a metal dragon pendant that Jaimie has had since she was a kid. It worked really well for this, and it had a little space on the back that was suspiciously magnet-shaped. We bored out the hole, and then we used some sandpaper to flatten the back of the dragon so that it would sit flat on the wood. Remember that hole that we drilled in the top of the box? Well, every once in a while, a plan comes together. The trick to opening the box is the opposing force of the magnets. When you hold the dragon against the end, it pushes the magnet inside, deeper into the hole, and allows the sides to unlock. Easy to open once you know, and it keeps your precious dice safe and sound.
Thanks as always for watching the video. We hope you liked it. We hope the puzzle was cool, and we hope the dice box was cool. We hope all the things were cool. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any friends who like D&D or tabletop games or puzzles, share the video with them. Maybe they'll like it too. Till next time, stay wicked.
Okay, but what we haven't shown so far, we've shown you how to take
Let your disbelief be suspended.
clear your mind.